Small SUVs have gained huge popularity because of their high seating position, spacious interior and low running costs. In fact, they've proved so popular that they're tempting many people out of their larger 4x4s. And while competition has grown, one popular choice has come from a very unlikely source, in the Skoda Yeti. Deciding which Yeti to go for will take some serious consideration, as there are a lot of options: petrol or diesel, two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, manual or automatic gearbox. The entry-level petrol is a 1.2 litre TSI, and it's a great all-rounder, and it's our pick of the range for the private buyer. But most company car drivers will opt for the front-wheel drive 108 brake horsepower 2 litre diesel, as it has plenty of low downpull and decent fuel economy. The same 2 litre diesel is available with four-wheel drive with either 108 or 148 brake horsepower. As varied as the choice is, it's hard to look beyond the entry-level diesel or 1.2 litre petrol, as they've got more than enough power for most drivers. While CO2 emissions are fairly competitive, none of the engines are exempt from road tax. The lowest is the entry-level 2 litre TDI, which emits just 118 grams per kilometre of CO2, while returning an official fuel economy of 62.8 miles per gallon. The petrol isn't too far behind, with emissions of 124 grams per kilometre of CO2 and a fuel economy figure of 53.3 miles per gallon. The Yeti isn't a car that you're going to drive for thrills. Only the four-wheel drive 2 litre TDI will do the 0 to 60 dash in under 10 seconds, whereas most small SUVs tend to wallow around corners because of the tall ride height. The Yeti is much more agile, and thanks to some direct steering, it actually gives you a lot of confidence when you're going around corners. While it's designed mainly for on-road use, the Yeti is available with a surprising amount of off-road technology too, including hill descent control. The Yeti is based on fairly old technology, and that's really noticeable when it comes to the ride. At lower speeds, the Yeti is fairly unsettled, but it doesn't settle down at cruising speed either. It feels a bit fidgety, and the wind and road noise can be a bit irritating on the motorway. The 1.2 litre is a refined motor, but the diesels tend to be boomy. Despite the tall body, the seats in the Yeti aren't as high as you'd expect, which means you don't have to climb up and into it like you do in some of its rivals. Once there, it's easy to get the right driving position thanks to a fully adjustable seat and a steering wheel that moves in and out as well as up and down. It's just a shame that you have to go for SE L spec or above if you want the lumbar support for the front seats. The entry-level Yeti is well equipped, and the dash is built to a high quality with a 5-inch touchscreen that controls the car's radio, an MP3 player and a Bluetooth function. The system works well, but it's not as slick as some of its rivals. If you upgrade to SE spec, then you get an upgraded Bolero system, which adds more speakers and a bigger 6.5-inch touchscreen. Further up the range is the Lauren and Clement edition, and that comes with all the bells and whistles, including sat-nav and DAB radio. Space is one thing that you won't be short of in the Yeti. The tall body means there's more than enough headroom in the front and in the back, and shoulder room is equally as impressive. Up front, there's a decent selection of cubby holes too, including one at the top of the centre console and door bins that are large enough for a medium-sized drink bottle. There's room for 3 to sit in the back in comfort, even on long journeys. The only annoyance though is this central transmission tunnel that the middle passenger will have to straddle. The outer seats are on runners, so they can slide back and forth and recline too, depending on whether you want a bigger boot or more space in the back. And should you want a bigger boot, the seats split 40-20-40. What is slightly annoying is the seats don't fold flat into the floor. They can be removed, but they're heavy to take out and fiddly to put back. With the seats in place, there's plenty of space for a couple of large suitcases. But if you remove the seats completely, the Yeti practically becomes a small van. Two-wheel drive Yetis are priced well and shouldn't depreciate too quickly, so we'd be more inclined to go for them over the pricier 4x4 versions. Entry-level models get a generous amount of equipment, including electric windows, air conditioning and Bluetooth, but we'd recommend forking out for the SE, which adds an upgraded touchscreen, rear parking sensors, dual zone climate control and some practical touches in the boot to help separate items and stop them sliding around. The Yeti has built a strong reputation and does well in most customer satisfaction surveys, and Skoda has a good reliability record. All models are equipped with anti-whiplash head restraints, Isofix child mounting points and front, side and curtain airbags, plus another airbag to protect the driver's knees. But the Yeti misses out on some modern safety equipment such as automatic emergency braking. It's easy to see why the Skoda Yeti is so popular. The wide, tall body means there's excellent cabin space for even the most demanding family. It's also surprisingly agile for an SUV. The only big negatives are the unsettled ride and noisy road manners. But if you can live with those foibles, the Yeti is well worth a look. For more information, search for the Skoda Yeti on whatcar.com, and to keep up to date with all our latest video road tests, click subscribe.